Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible, but when they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied? My name is Chris, and this is my colleague Jack, and we're spreading Christmas joy for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Hello, ho ho ho, etc, etc. How are you doing, everyone? It is Christmas time, definitely still, and it's not too late for anything. Merry Christmas, Jack. If we're doing that, people will maybe believe that we're at least recording it before or on Christmas.
I say the Christmas period sticks from that kind of like weird part of Christmas itself all the way to like the day New Year's Eve.
That's true. That's true. It's just a wibbly wobbly mess of time at the end of the year.
Exactly. It's a weird part of the year where you've just got to put together something.
Exactly.
What better than to have a lovely Christmas episode? Some people have still got their got up their decorations and everything. So yes, this is a Christmas episode, everyone.
Woohoo!
Woo!
So...
And when I say woo,
I cannot stress this enough.
I cannot stress enough. Who?
The doctor?
Sorry, that's just really tickled me, and I don't know why. It was my own joke. That's awful. You should laugh at your own jokes, but I did. Well, and I do.
I always say, if you don't think your own jokes are funny, why are you making them? So laugh away.
Social media clout?
Social media is the worst thing that has happened to humanity. But that's not the point of this episode. This episode, we are talking about something we have mentioned before and thought we should probably tell you a little bit more about, and that is the Krampus incident. That is
the Krampus incident.
Krampus.
There's enough phlegm in there.
What's more dir für den Krampus erzählen?
Ain't got a clue. Not got a clue what you just said.
Anyway, I'm just
wash
trying
your mouth
a very
out.
bad Bavarian accent. Anyway, this is another story of Christmas joy that Jack and I have managed to bring to the world, because it seems that every time something happens on Christmas, we are A, involved, and B, it has consequences.
Certainly does.
It certainly does. But for everyone who's not caught up, let's talk about who or what is Krampus first. And he doesn't look like the nicest person, probably, you could say. He's a very hairy man, and as if that's not bad enough, he's got the horns, the hooves. He's very like demon-like in appearance. Kind of like a very goat aesthetic going on there. Yeah, if you squint your eyes, you could maybe go satyr or something like that, but that's stretching it, I guess.
I would say that you're looking at something that's a bit more half goat, half demon, kind of in your aesthetic. So it's very, very kind of like Christian Satan looking.
Exactly.
Looking kind of aesthetic. So, you know, that kind of idea of what Satan looks like to your, I don't know, your incredibly Christian upbringing or family or whatever. The kind of like curling ram's horns, and the face is very human-like though, but with some of those kind of like goat-like features. But think again, very devil. You know what you think of when you think of the devil themselves, and he's kind of got like a covering of like brownish fur hair, that kind of thing, like that coarse kind of hair that you might see on goats on things like TikTok.
Yeah, exactly like that. And I think personally, probably this might have been the example on which the Christian church actually modeled their concept of the devil, because there's also the whole
definitely
theme of judging evil involved in all of that. So there's something there, which we'll get to in a minute.
But one of the interesting things about Krampus is tends to, both in the myth and the real truth, because we'll let this one slip, unlike we did with Mothman earlier around Halloween, Krampus does exist.
Yes.
And we have had to deal with Krampus.
We have, and it was not pleasant.
Exactly. No, it wasn't pleasant at all. But in both the myth and real factual life, Krampus tends to be covered in bells and chains and various things. Like, don't get me wrong, in the myth, it's a lot of bells, it's a lot of chains. You can really hear him coming. In real life, it's more of a kind of a subtle kind of accessorizing, shall we say,
Yeah.
Rather, a little bit of a tinkle, not like sounding like Santa's flying through with his reindeer landing in your house.
Exactly. Just enough to be extra, he has a flair for the dramatic.
Exactly, yeah. Think pet cat. That kind of noise you tend to hear of Krampus.
Exactly. Wherever he goes, he scares the birds away.
Exactly. But I will also say he does come up with some relatively scary features as well. He does like to walk around with a sack, or in the past, if he's got quite a lot of work to do, an actual entire basket that he'll shove onto his back. And there's always a bundle of birch twigs, which he uses to great effect, but we can get into that a little bit later on down the line.
With great effect, you could say that. Yeah, you might have heard of him before because he's quite closely linked to Saint Nicholas, and he's kind of the bad cop to Saint Nicholas bad cops when it comes to judging nice and naughty children. And he is linked to Saint Nicholas quite closely these days when it comes to judging nice and naughty children and all that, but we're pretty sure he has existed before Christianity, adopted him, and he was around in pagan beliefs and stories from that time, and as with almost everything, he was involved in things around the winter solstice, because in pagan belief, everything comes back to the winter solstice somehow.
Certainly does. And
he was thought to be involved in rituals to dispel evil spirits, and the evil spirits that kind of gather and build up during the winter solstice and over time, to dispel that kind of thing, like a lot of festivities in other beliefs are. You just want to get rid of spirits. You want to clean house, and
a good portion of when you talk about like festivals and rituals, especially from that kind of like more pagan religion kind of background, pretty much generally it's always in some way cleansing the spirit, cleansing the world around you. And we think that Krampus initially, at least from the myth kind of point of view, was brought in as a figure to help in those rituals in some way.
It kind of fits because often in these rituals it's kind of almost like scaring away the spirits, kind of like fighting fire with fire, so you get a big spooky goat demon to scare away the less scary ghosts, so that checks out, I guess.
The non-spooky goats.
Exactly. There's also some folklore that says he's the son of Norse goddess Hel, so basically a prince of the underworld, so to say. Yeah. And I'm not sure how much I subscribe to that, but I gotta say it's one hell of a theory.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, sometimes I hate working with you.
I'm here the entire weekend. Thank you.
We haven't put through your redundancy yet, have we?
You're not getting rid of me that easily.
No, unfortunately, you've reached that point in the CCI where they can't get rid of you.
I am unfireable. I can do whatever I want.
Too many creatures want to speak specifically with you for various reasons. Some of them, I'm sure, think you're competent. Some of them, I'm sure, just realize they can definitely take advantage.
I have no idea what you mean.
Then there's me talking at you as if I'm not in the same boat.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but yes, very.
But anyway,
But,
so what about with the rise of Christianity, Chris? How did
Yes.
Krampus come in that way?
Well, with the rise of Christianity. Sorry, I misread that. With the rise of Christianity, Krampus became kind of adopted in a whole Christian belief system, and they kind of bundled him up with the whole Christmas and Saint Nicholas thing, and there was a period of time where the Catholics tried to ban Krampus and get rid of him more or less, but when they realized they couldn't get rid of him, they claimed him for themselves, as they are wont to do. And now, as the Christian stories say, Krampus and Saint Nicholas arrived together on the 5th of December on Krampusnacht, which is Krampus night for your translation services. And it's basically he is the bad cop to Saint Nick's good cop. He's the one who, deals out the punishment. If the kids are naughty, he'll get out the birch twigs and hit the kids with that. Or, he has a whole assortment of things he likes to do. Belts are an old favorite, and anything you can beat up a kid with, he has it.
Anything you just know you can beat a child with. It's all great.
Yeah, which,
but again,
it's probably most things if you just try hard enough. Now that I think
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, Krampus really was, he very much knew how to do it right.
Yeah, he very much does. He could have had a very different career with that kind of skill set, but that's neither here nor there.
And we're certainly not associating that with kids.
No. We don't.
What does he do to repeat offenders?
Don't rush me.
I want to rush past this part very quickly.
Repeat offenders. Yeah. So, naughty kids get a beating, and that's it for the most part. Repeat offenders, he is not so calm about. There's anything involved from drowning or otherwise murdering the kids, or allegedly even literally dragging them into literal hell, which we haven't confirmed. We're not sure there's actual Christian hell involved. Yeah, we don't really know what it is or where it takes them. We just know that kids vanish.
Yeah, they disappear and they certainly don't come back. We at the CCI don't think there is a literal hell, but they go somewhere.
Yeah,
or at least they used to. We've done a lot to try and stop that.
Exactly.
Over the last century or so. As you can say, there is. You could consider him to be that kind of like lawful evil, maybe. Yeah. But again, that's the Christian version of it. As far as we know, Krampus just seemed to be some kind of creature that in mythology has been taken as like a warning, as so many of these kind of mythical creatures tend to be, used as a warning to try and discipline children. Yeah. And we don't know if that was because he actively disciplined children, or if he fell into disciplining children because people kind of typecasted Krampus into that role. All we do know is that he does now discipline children, and he does it quite effectively. And
also with so much joy that I'm pretty sure that disciplining the children came first.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, do a job you love.
Exactly.
But for those of you who might be worried about Krampus then, now realizing that Krampus does exist, you only need to be worried if you live kind of around Central Europe and kind of the Alpine regions, so Germany, Austria, those kinds of places. But he does have a tendency to travel, so do be aware if you live in, say, the Americas, you're not safe. Behave yourself if I were you.
You're not
but...
safe for many reasons.
Yeah, Krampus is probably the safest thing going up there. But it's quite interesting to note that nowadays, obviously, well, nowadays Krampus is seen as a mythical creature. You're welcome. We've done a lot of work to kind of prevent Krampus from kind of, say, dragging his reign of terror across children all over the world. It's also worth noting that people obviously do still celebrate things like Krampus in their kind of cultures and things. He's obviously been in movies and various things like that. But one of the interesting things is also the Krampuslauf, which I believe is the Krampus run, if I've got my German correct.
You do.
Yeah,
I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Now you can put the right article in front of that.
Absolutely not. I don't understand what you mean by article.
Well, let's move swiftly on then.
But
Krampus
yeah,
love,
so
go.
essentially they do a run. They do the Krampus run. Some people, they dress up as Krampus and they'll chase people with birch twigs.
They break their
them.
legs backwards so they can run like a goat.
Yeah, some people are very dedicated. But essentially, it's kind of how it's manifested nowadays in people's culture and country culture, etc. And it's a way in which people seem to enjoy Krampus. Yeah, so from our conversations with Krampus himself, he seems to really, really enjoy the fact that people remember him and bring him up in their culture. And yeah, he seems happy to allow it. Yeah, he certainly does have an ego, which kind of brings us a little bit onto how we.
If you're listening, Krampus, this is all meant in a very friendly way, of course.
I'm in my 30s. I'm not a child. You can't beat me.
You could certainly try. I'd like to see that fight.
I have a gun.
Match on Christmas.
I could get a gun, Krampus.
So can he.
No. Yeah, so as we normally do, we've got a bit of a story about how Chris and I have interacted with Krampus in the past. And it has been referred to, again, in the past as the Krampus incident.
It certainly has.
Oh, it was an incident. It was relatively serious, quite a serious situation. Ended relatively well, I would say, but that's on my opinion.
Relatively.
But
depends on who you ask.
Yeah, depends on who you ask. If you ask the finance guys, it did not end well.
Oh, no.
But we can get onto that a little bit later. Yeah, so I was visiting Chris, bringing Christmas presents and that kind of thing. I was over in Germany, and I was just in the general area. And while Krampus, as we kind of alluded to, over the last few years has had less to actually do. As I'm sure you all know, we don't beat children very much anymore. Your opinions on that are your own. But yeah, we don't beat children. So the idea of a mythical creature, an enigmatic, powerful creature that walks around beating your kids, not really that PC anymore. So we have done a lot of work to encourage Krampus to not go around beating children.
We tried to get him into knitting instead, but it didn't really take.
Yeah, he just saw the knitting needles as something pointy, and we stopped it there basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but essentially we decided that we needed to help Krampus not do what we would now consider abuse, and it has resulted in Krampus doing a lot less to children, but at the same time he has been very, very bored, I would say.
Yes.
Over the last probably about 20-30 years. Sometimes he just needs a bit of an outlet.
Yes, and with that context, coincidentally, around that time, we had a bit of a problem here in the area in Germany where there was a kind of it's a bit convoluted. There was a gang making trouble, and that gang basically hired a bunch of kids to be like the clueless foot soldiers, so to say. So the actual gang would do the like serious stuff like protection rackets and stuff like that. And if like a store owner wouldn't pay, they would send the kids in there to, I don't know, steal a bit of stuff here and there, just as a warning kind of thing, to do a little bit of financial damage. And the kids were trying to be cool, trying to belong, and maybe they didn't come from the best backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can probably see how that is not going to please Krampus very much, and how that might be important as a setup for this incident.
Yeah, so as we've said already, and as we've kind of alluded to, Krampus is not exactly the most forgiving of entities.
Nah.
So he very much judged these children as being rather naughty, shall we say.
Oh yes, very.
But
and repeat offenders, might I add.
Yeah, he didn't quite just see them as naughty and deserving of a quick beating. He kind of saw them very much as repeat offenders. And as a result, again, he might have been bored, he might have been looking for things to do, he might have been annoyed with us and just wanted to make a point. But either way, he went and kidnapped this group of children, taking them away to, if I'm perfectly honest, wherever. At the time, we did not know. We just got the report that a weird goat-like human Satanist devilish creature was seen in the area. A bunch of kids that were performing quite naughty acts, shall we say, by Krampus standards, were missing. And, well, the research that the CCI put 2 and 2 together and very quickly came up with 4. As it would happen, as usually tends to be the case, Chris and I were in the general area, and we were the highest ranking wardens in the area, who also had a team around us.
Who also had a Christmas dinner planned.
Yeah, we also had a Christmas dinner planned. It was quite. I was looking forward to that turkey, but as a result, we got deployed to go find what was happening, taking Chris's team, and seeing as I was there, they just said, "Yeah, tag along." Two senior wardens is better than one.
Take your brother with you.
2 senior wardens are better than 1.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we got sent out, and to be perfectly honest, we've never really spent much time at wherever Krampus lives. At the time, we didn't really actually know properly where Krampus kind of resided, where his home was, and we were expecting some really, really dangerous situation. We might have been infected by like the horror movie he'd been in not long beforehand, or just some of the myths and legends. But we went like full tactical support. We were going in.
Oh yeah, the cleanup crew was ready and everything.
Yeah, we had every intention of having to deal with casualties and injuries and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, you and I were trying to work out how we first incapacitate Krampus, or if we even can, which was a bit of a weird one to kind of work out. But yeah, so we were going full like rescue mission on this one, and as we kind of started tracking Krampus, the research guys actually managed to track him down to somewhere specific and send us in the right direction. However, I don't really know the area that well, certainly don't know names, which is why I'm going to hand over to our wonderful Chris, who's a bit more of an expert on it.
Oh yes, totally an expert. So basically where we ended up tracking Krampus to was a town called Immerath, and our German listeners might be vaguely familiar with that name because back in the day, it was basically being relocated in its entirety because of some coal mining nonsense going on, and they basically wanted to remove the town, settle the people somewhere, a little bit, want to settle the people a little bit away from there in a new town, and flatten the village to do some tasty coal mining. And what that has to do with our story is that leading up to the final year or a couple of years before it was torn down, it was basically a ghost town, more or less, because most of the houses were abandoned. And it turned out that at some point, Krampus apparently didn't like the Alps very much anymore and decided to relocate. And, there were a lot of abandoned houses there with, existing infrastructure and that he could squat in and... basically just live a happy life over there. And as we went in there, as Jack said, we expected the worst, but he's really been actually keeping this house very much in working order, and it was probably a house in the best shape in this entire town at this point. There was working electricity, running water, modern heating, and everything. I think he even had a heat pump.
Yeah.
He's all for the environment and everything apparently. And we were very surprised because this was not at all the scene we were expecting. It was very civilized. There was a nice dining table set up and everything.
He'd obviously been upskilling himself quite a lot. He'd been because I don't think he's exactly bringing any contractors in.
Probably.
Getting there's not really a local electrician, let alone a local electrician who's willing to come along to a house and work on the house that's owned by the crazy goat creature.
Exactly, and a house that's gonna be demolished in a few months. So he's quite a handyman apparently.
Yeah, he's really been using that extra time that he's had ever since not beating children.
Yeah, everyone needs a hobby.
As we kind of got in, like we've said, we were expecting like resistance and everything like that, but he welcomed us in. Offered us a couple of drinks. We took off a lot of the tactical equipment that we brought in, seeing as we realised we didn't actually need it, and kind of asked a bit about where the kids were. And it turned out he was in the process of preparing to, as he put it, take the kids to hell.
Yeah. At this point, we were not really sure what that meant.
Yeah, so we're not too certain what hell is in regards to Krampus. Like we said already, it's definitely not we're pretty sure there's not a biblical hell that exists. However, there were a lot of bricks and mortar. Did you notice that? There was just a lot of bricks and mortar hanging around.
Yeah.
And a lot of new-looking walls.
New-looking walls. I think I saw the Monte Cristo book on the shelf, so maybe...
Yeah. Take that as you will, dear listener.
Yes.
But obviously we couldn't allow these kids to go to quote-unquote hell.
Yeah.
So we
neither literally nor metaphorically.
So we had to have a bit of a conversation with Krampus.
Oh yes,
those of ours,
or I did.
I was going to say those of our listeners who have heard the Christmas special from 2024, I believe it was, for Santa. You will know that on that time I went and negotiated with Santa and got helped to get everything back on track.
Yes. And nothing bad happened.
Chris nearly created an elf union.
Nearly? That elf union is going strong.
It certainly is. That's why costs have risen. That's the truth. It's not inflation.
Yeah, it's true. It's also why I'm getting angry Santa texts every year.
Yeah. So this time I thought, well, let's let Chris go and speak with Krampus. He can't really do any worse. And I will stay with the kids and kind of look after them and let Chris negotiate for us on behalf of the CCI.
Yes. What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong, Chris? Enlighten us.
I don't know. As we said, Krampus was being very bored because we didn't want him to beat up children because, abuse and everything. So I kind of talked to him for a while and tried to find something that I could offer him in return to letting these children just go, and also to, kind of keep them busy in the future. And then I had an idea. And this idea, I felt very clever for having it. And I mentioned earlier this entire village, this entire town was being erased, basically. So I said, hey, you like judging children. Why don't you become a judge in the city's juvenile court? Just above the law and everything, just without all the dragging to hell stuff and beating kids and everything. It sounds like something you might be interested in. And his eyes lit up by a lot.
Turns out Krampus has a very good legal mind.
He does. Yeah, if you ever deal with anyone or anything that might remotely have any similarity to pagan spirits, creatures, fairies, that kind of stuff, don't try to outlaw them. It won't work. How do I know that? I know that because we drew up a contract, and I thought I was being very clever because this town wasn't gonna exist much longer, and it won't be our problem anymore. But it turns out the way this contract was written, the long and short of it is that these people were relocated to basically a new village, Immerat Neu. And the way this contract was written meant that he would have the position in this replacement city as well, which I didn't notice at the time. But what that meant was that now basically the CCI is seeing lots and lots of kids being put to trial in front of a very nasty judge, and having.
Yeah, the Right Honourable K. Rampus.
Yes, Mr. K. Rampus. And the CCI has to pay a lot in fees for very expensive lawyers that are able to, do something for the kids in front of this judge. And also, you shouldn't estimate the cost of makeup and costumes, because we don't want Krampus to sit in public in his as a judge and be recognized by everyone as a goat demon. So basically, Mr. K. Rampus has a whole makeup and costume team for every appearance in court, and he has a lot of appearances.
Yes, he's prolific.
Yes. And the bills, yes, we are still, we're not best friends with anyone in the finance department. Let's say that.
No. But I will say, I didn't exactly fare much better.
What happened with the kids? I don't quite remember.
So obviously, I wanted to reassure the children that we were there. We were there to help them. We were going to get them out.
Sure.
I understood that they were on a bad path. And that they didn't know truly what they were involved in. So I wanted to help the kids and try and reset their trajectory in life, shall we say.
Yes.
So I was encouraging them to interact with the CCI. We can help kind of direct them. We can help them if they provide services for us. Volunteering and things like that was what I intended. Then in the future, they may even have roles with the CCI, or at the very least, we can kind of help them kind of become productive members of society.
Exactly, sounds great. So what did they volunteer as?
What happened was that a couple of days later, when we were back at the German headquarters for the CCI, getting chewed out because of the Krampus contract, because someone in legal finally had a look at that and realised the mistakes that were made there.
Yep.
There was a knock on the door within the office saying that I had a couple of packages arrive. which
Curious.
very strange because I certainly wouldn't get anything delivered to the German headquarters of the CCI that I need to take back to my home in England. It's silly.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it turned out that the kids had misconstrued what I meant by services and had gone, okay then, well, maybe we can steal for the CCI instead. So there was a 60-inch plasma TV.
Which is
a
still in
few
the break
games
room,
consoles.
I think.
Yeah, somewhere in there. No, it's not there. I swear, we returned it.
We paid for
as
it
stolen
afterwards,
goods.
of course.
I mean, since then we've managed to, get those kids back onto like the proper straight and narrow, shall we say, the aimed trajectory. But yeah, there was about a month or so where some wardens had to go and spend time tracking the kids down and explaining to them that they could volunteer and provide help that way, not take goods and services and steal for the CCI. Which, the bollocking we were receiving definitely changed from how the hell can you put this contract together to why the hell have you employed children as thieves? Legal, I'm pretty certain legal were just annoyed by the child labour implications that were involved in that. Until someone kind of brought the moralistic side of stealing children. But I'm going to say all's well that ends well. Krampus has stopped stealing children, or at least we haven't noticed him taking them. These kids didn't go to hell. And we've got a productive member of society in the Right Honourable Krampus.
Yes, exactly. And there's only slightly more children being put into jail in this town than on average in Germany, so it all works out.
Slightly.
Yeah, only slightly.
And that is what we in the CCI like to call the Krampus incident.
I hope this has sated your curiosity, and it shows you that not only I screw up, but
it's a wonder. It's a wonder that we are senior wardens.
It really is a wonder. It shows you how hard it is to be fired.
It does show you how hard it is to be fired. It also makes you wonder, what the hell are the rest of them doing?
Oh, yes.
If we are considered some of the top of the pile.
Yes. But yeah, if people are looking to maybe recruit child thieves themselves, do you have any idea where they could find candidates for that?
Well, we've got this place called the blinkandyoullmythit Discord, where you might be able to find child thieves.
There's free
everywhere.
candy inside.
We're not going down that route. But on the blinkandyoullmythit Discord, you can come along and you can ask questions, you can ask for services, you can ask for goods, and someone may provide them to you. But we're certainly not going to regulate how they do it. And personally, if someone's saying they can provide it to you, I would say they're probably scammers. Let's not fall for that one. But in the meantime, while you're trying to avoid being scammed on there, you can join in the conversation. You can get involved and talk about creatures that we've spoken about, talk about creatures you'd like to hear a lot about, ask questions, and just generally interact with us, because between Chris and I, we have seen pretty much everything that has existed in our world.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun, and when there is something new, we get to go find it usually.
Yes.
It's weird how often we do that. I'm starting to kind of wonder how many people actually work for the CCI. Very strange. We do get sent pretty much everywhere.
It
better not to think about that. I think it's better not to think about that. But at the same time, what else should they be doing, Chris?
Well, you should be... You should recover from all your Christmas eating and all of that kind of stuff. But while you're doing that, why not give this podcast a rating? You know, where you're listening to it, there's probably stars or a thumb or both.
Rate all over.
Maybe there's some stars, who knows? But anyway, give us a good rating, give us a comment, give us a subscription, because you don't want to miss out on future episodes in the new year. You could also listen to all our old episodes, all of them, But the
Oh, I love
order
them.
isn't important because there's no real continuity apart from a few in-jokes. So just, look for something, some creature that interests you and click on it and listen to it to your heart's content. I mean, what else is there to do until the new year? You really have no excuse. And,
This is the perfect time. Just waste your time.
Exactly. Waste your time and waste everyone else's time because they are as bored as you. There's no time at the end of the year. So just share our podcast with everyone you know, everyone who might not have any concept of days of the week anymore, and just make them listen to everything we have done or will ever do.
Everything.
Absolutely
everything. And you know what? Share it with people you don't know as well. Inflict it on others. That's caring.
That's the best thing. You should always be inflicting things on people.
And with that wonderful note, I think it's time to say thank you very much for listening.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time. But otherwise, goodbye.
Goodbye.